versus the world. We may not be right, but we don't know what about. Versus the world. We don't fuck around. If we did, we found out we are drunks. Versus the world. We may not be right, but we don't know what about. Okay, I gotta find something. Where, dude? Why didn't you tell me we were recording?
You're the one who hit record.
Oh yeah,
That's on you.
that was pretty dumb, huh? Hey, welcome to our second episode of the evening. I'm Jason with Drunks vs. the World,
And I'm Lucas.
and we are recording for 2 nights, or two episodes in one night.
We're on a back-to-back. We're doing a double header.
Yeah, doing a double header. I got to go out of town next weekend. You got something going on?
Got a little house party with some old colleagues.
So we're gonna do 2, and unfortunately Justin is still in that cult.
Yep. Yeah.
But from what I
He's the
heard,
leader now.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's made it somehow. We got up there.
He went from sheep to shepherd.
Yeah, I think that he was like he did the old switcheroo with the Kool-Aid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I give him some credit. Pretty smart, that guy. Very sneaky.
He knows his drugs.
Right? So, one thing I've been meaning to tell you guys to go fuck yourself about is, so I do read the news, but you guys give me so much shit because of where I read it.
It's not the most reliable.
But it's not like Yahoo. What the fuck? It's not like Yahoo. They're sending out their own reporters.
Yeah.
It's just a link to other places.
It's an aggregate of other news sources. Most of them are completely legit. I mean,
But
it's just you get the clickbait articles in there too.
Yeah.
Because I see it. I do the on Windows now. There's like a news thing in the system tray.
Yes.
And I'll click into those a lot. But a lot of it is clickbait.
Oh,
shit.
definitely.
Yeah.
But I think it was Justin was the first started giving me shit. I can't remember. Did you hear about this? No, where'd you read that? Yahoo. Really? I'm sorry, dude. It wasn't Tom Zamansky telling me about the fucking weather. Sorry, fucker.
So now it's just a fun thing to like, where'd you hear that, Yahoo News?
Yeah, fucking dickheads. Thought you guys were my friends.
I did hear an interesting news story, not on Yahoo News.
Okay, let's hear it.
Starting next weekend, and for about 2 months after that, the Earth is going to have a second moon.
I heard about that. I never read it, but yeah, it's like
It's a small asteroid that is going to be entering Earth's orbit briefly for about 2 months, and it's going to... I don't think it's going to make an entire revolution, so using the word moon is kind of misleading.
Right.
But it's going to, like, come in, the Earth's orbit's going to catch it, and then slingshot it out the other side.
Are we going to be able to see it?
Where it came from. Not with the naked eye, no. Oh. I think certain, like, amateur astronomers with their telescopes, if they know where it's going to be, will be able to see it, but...
Because you got to admit, that'd be pretty fucking cool. I mean, obviously, if you were a fucking random person who doesn't read yahoonews.com, don't read the news and didn't know anything about it, and they seen that shit, they'd be, oh, fuck.
Holy shit.
We're dead.
Yep.
Because it'd be, I mean, being the Star Wars fan, look at fucking Tatooine, who had 2 suns. Mm-hmm. You know, so...
And there are binary star systems with planets.
That have 2 suns.
Yes, there could totally be life out there right now with 2 suns, and we'll never meet them.
I'm just surprised. So here's one thing about, you know, how you're going, what you're saying about this is, bringing this up, is that I'm kind of surprised, how to explain it. If you look at the pictures of the moon with all the fucking craters from asteroids and shit hitting it. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a ton of fucking asteroid hits here also.
Yep.
But the moon is smaller than the Earth. You would think that we would have the opportunity to see more than we actually. Now, do we see like we see meteor storms and shit like that? An asteroid field or not? There's an asteroid field, however far away.
And the meteor storms that you're talking about, though, that is, we see those. The reason we see those is the same reason that we don't see more craters on Earth.
Because they burn up in the atmosphere.
And that's why, because the moon doesn't have an atmosphere, so there's nothing to burn them up and stop them.
I think it does, but I think it's a very, very minimal. Because
at this point, I think it might be fully gone at this point. It did probably in the past have one.
See, and that's what one thing that kind of makes me wonder about certain conspiracy theories, because first of all, like Dark Side of the Moon, they say we don't know, but then there's the conspiracy theory that it's actually an alien fucking base, and that's why nobody's been on that side, but we have, whatever.
But because Apollo 13 had to go all the way around because they had to abort their landing.
Right. But so if you think about it now, there's minimal gravity.
Yeah, it's about 1/6 of the Earth.
Right. Okay. But apparently the moon has enough gravity to affect our ocean currents and shit like that.
Yep.
So don't you think that's kind of a catch-22 almost?
I see where you're coming from, but it's also that the moon doesn't have a lot of gravity compared to the Earth.
Right. I
And
mean,
so-
obviously it's smaller but so they say that there's theories. I mean, gravity's obviously it's true.
Yeah.
It's an actual force of nature. But isn't it also gravity's also based on the spin of the Earth? That's why it's keeping us where we're at.
So
Or is it the magnetic what do you call it? Forces of the Earth that's keeping us as far as considered gravity is concerned.
So gravity. So the spin of the Earth actually counteracts the gravity of the Earth somewhat, but the gravity, because the Earth it's so big compared to how fast it's spinning,
Right.
that the actual gravity just dwarfs the effect of the spin.
Right, and apparently the gravity of the Earth's pull is what keeps the moon where it's at.
Yeah, and eventually, I mean, it'll be long. Well,
It'll be
the Earth and Moon will be enveloped by the sun long before this would happen. But the Moon, it gets further away every year by like a half centimeter or something.
Right.
And so eventually, over time, it's gonna fall out of orbit with the Earth and become its own like rogue satellite.
right.
But the sun is gonna expand and
Blow up.
incinerate us before.
Well, it's the sun's in its final stage of life right now.
Which is a little misleading because it's still like a couple billion years before.
Yeah. We're gonna kill ourselves before that fucking.
Easily, yeah.
But that's one thing that I've never understood is that there's minimal gravity on the moon. There's a very small amount of atmosphere, but yet there's enough that little moon can affect our oceans. Mm-hmm. Which, if that moon was gone, apparently the fucking oceans would we'd be just one big water planet.
Yeah, and the currents, I guess I don't know how it would affect the currents necessarily, but it would definitely, without those tides, the currents that we have now would not exist, and the whole, like, if it just disappeared tomorrow, I would bet over the next however many 100 years, or maybe thousands, but all of the life as we know it in the oceans would just stop living because the currents would fuck up the entire ecosystem.
You know what's scary to me when it comes to the ocean, other than fucking sharks and shit? Riptides.
Yes.
No, so apparently it's a rare phenomenon to go out there and see like a fucking whirlpool. Mm-hmm. And they're dangerous, obviously, but they're not as dangerous as people fucking think, because you're not going to go out into say into your yacht, and there's going to be a whirlpool big enough to fucking. But a fucking riptide will. You have to fucking pay attention, because there's always going to be that one guy who's like, oh, I can swim. Well, I mean, I can swim too. I could not swim. I could not survive a riptide.
Yeah, nobody can swim that fast because like a riptide is pulling you out at like 12 miles an hour or something.
And it's not just pulling you out, but it's pulling you sideways too.
Well, and you're supposed to swim to sideways to get out of it.
Right.
But yeah, it'll pull you out and then kind of diagonal.
Well, I thought a riptide was when you got tide coming in or going out, and then you also had it going sideways. That's what I understood a riptide was.
That might cause an undertow. I don't know.
Undertow's actually underneath the surface.
It'll pull you down.
Right, but a riptide, from what I understood, is where the tide will go sideways, and it goes because you can see a riptide from the surface.
I've always understood it to be it's the kind that pulls you out, and then you swim to the side to get out of it because most people panic and they try to swim directly to shore. And you can't do that. You just cannot swim fast enough.
Either way, as far as I'm concerned, I think riptides actually only happen in salt water, like in oceans and shit anyway, I think.
Yeah, I think the body of water has to be so big that otherwise there's not enough.
You ever seen some of those videos that are out there about, like, say, somebody's out on a fishing boat or some sort of boat, and they're up north, and when a huge chunk of fucking ice breaks off a glacier.
Oh, yes.
Into like a fucking bay or whatever, and you don't know what a fucking tsunami is till you see. I mean, it's a swell. It's a huge swell. So the problem with a tsunami will fucking cause mass destruction. But when you see the swell coming at you and it's fucking 30 feet high, you don't think that's a big fucking swell, but when you're in a boat and you're on the fucking realizing how small you are.
Yep.
Holy fuck.
I saw one. It was probably it was near Antarctica in the last probably 10 years or so, where they were out there. Their whole point was to study the ice shelf collapses and stuff and to film them. And there just one day suddenly was a collapse that was so big and so unexpected that they're filming it and the footage is incredible. And then they realize, oh my God, we got to get the fuck out of here. And that tide hits them and like the ocean spray, it goes, you can't see anything. And
was that the one that it was like a Norwegian fjord that got fucking where a huge chunk fucking broke off? And
no, this one wasn't. This one was definitely like Antarctica because there was it was 100 it was.
I guess I don't mean Norway in general, but or not in general, but specifically. But like it was a very northern Scandinavian country that had these huge fjords that still had like. And when I say glacier, I mean, we both know that glaciers aren't just big icebergs. A glacier is still land bearing. It's still on land and everything. And I seen this. It was some sort of Scandinavian fucking fishing boat. And we're not talking just like, go out there and catch a fucking northern. We're talking like a bigger boat. And this fucking huge slab of fucking ice broke off of this glacier or this fjord, whatever you call it, into the fucking water. And this fucking it was a random tsunami. Most people, when you hear tsunamis, when you hear stuff that happened like in Indonesia and Japan and stuff, those are caused by offshore fucking earthquakes. But more localized tsunamis are because of these fucking huge, hundreds of thousands of millions of tons of fucking ice breaking off a glacier and falling into a bay of water because it's very localized. And so everything just kind of accumulates and just fucking rises. And this boat, holy fuck, they did say holy fuck. They were probably screaming in some sort of foreign language, and he fucking shit canned it.
Yeah.
And you just seen this fucking wave coming at him, and
no, this one was definitely Antarctica because there was no land. It was, as far as you could see, it was nothing but ice
Really?
everywhere. Yeah.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden, like over here to the left, there's this big ice fall that goes, and that just it sets off this massive chain reaction that the camera just kept panning and panning, and it just kept falling and falling and falling, and then then all of a sudden you just start to see this giant wave.
Yep.
And they take off, and oh my god,
The ocean is such a it's an amazing but absolutely terrifying place.
yeah, oh god, just when you look at a picture that someone takes from in the water pointing down, and it just goes to this blackness where you can't see anything. Just thinking about it, I get like butterflies.
Me,
like,
me too. I mean, this is gonna be fucked up. When I was a kid, I had this dream, and so it was kind of like SpongeBob. I was in the ocean, and I was in my house. I was in a house, and I could somehow I could breathe. Right?
I've had dreams like that. It's weird.
But I look out and there's it. I could see, you can see light, but you're so far down that it doesn't matter. And you see fucking like whales and shit. And it scared me so bad. And I'm like, I don't even know how to explain it, because what is it? Would they say fucking 10% of the oceans have actually been fucking...
there's so much that we have no idea.
Right. I mean...
They're still finding new species, like literally every day.
Yeah. Yep. Especially, they've had those... on Yahoo News,
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. They were talking about that fucking Titan sub again.
Yeah, because the Navy has been releasing footage because they've had one of their little submersibles down there taking pictures.
And they found
the fucker. They found the wreckage. Well, what's left of the wreckage.
Yeah, and so there was a person, this lady had actually went on one of the cruises, went to another wreckage, and this wreckage was closer to the surface. But she had been in one of the other subs
of the same company.
Yes, and there was people apparently told them, so when they were down in the sub, they couldn't really see very well, and they kind of felt like they hit something, and apparently they were stuck at the bottom. Now again, they weren't as far down as this other one.
Yeah,
and. Apparently they were trying everything they can with, their fucking Super Nintendo fucking controller to get out of there. And people were freaking out and, wow, give me the fucking controller and shit like that. And apparently somebody in the background screamed, did you hit Control Alt Delete? So
that's probably the kind of... I hope that if I was in that kind of situation, I would have that kind of sense of humor, because it's out of my hands at that point.
No, so apparently somebody people were panicking apparently, right? Now there's two sides to every story, we know that. Mm-hmm. So one side said people were freaking out, people did actually say that to kind of restart everything, because they didn't know they hit the bottom. All they knew is that they couldn't move. And somebody else, give me the fucking controller. That part apparently happened, and somehow they did get out of the where they were at, and ended up going where they were going, get back to the surface. This person said nobody said that, and that didn't happen, and this lady was apparently, if you pay to go on one of these subs, you can go as what'd she say, as a passenger or a customer, which apparently, if you go as a passenger, it means that you could partake in the fucking controller and shit and whatever, or you could just sit there and hang out.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to control it. Like, I would just...
Right.
So I just want to watch. I just want to see what's out there.
So this lady, she said that because she went as a passenger, and you could you could volunteer to help, and she apparently seen... She goes, everybody that went on that sub, that went down to the Titanic, everybody was smiling and happy and ready to go. And I'm sitting here thinking, we all know that there was that one kid that didn't want to fucking go, and he fought it until the very end before
He just did it because he wanted to make his dad happy. And
even before he got in, he said, I don't want to fucking go. And his dad, he finally did it. So that's why I don't believe that this fucking lady knew what the fuck she was talking about, because that kid did not want to fucking go. He was not happy, and he did not look happy.
Well, and so the chief safety officer of that, they just testified somewhere. I'm not sure if it was in like federal court or if it's a civil thing, but they basically had said that they were more of a figurehead than anything, because any kind of safety concern that they would bring up would just get brushed aside. And he said that the day before they actually took that trip, on a practice dive, it malfunctioned.
The controller?
Yeah, like the controller, the sub, whatever, like, and they still ended up pushing forward with the dive.
Well, the biggest problem is that they know there was literally dozens upon dozens of problems with that sub, with any of them.
Well, and
they knew it, and they were just they somehow got away with it.
And specifically with their sub, every single other like dive company that does, you know, submarine type dives like that has said you cannot build it out of carbon fiber.
Yeah.
You have to have something like steel that has some kind of bend to it.
Malleability.
Yeah, because with carbon fiber, as soon as something gives, it shatters.
Yep, that's the reason why carbon fiber is the way it is. It's strong as fuck, but one little in it, and it's fucking gone.
And the reason that they get away with it is because these are such niche industries that they don't really have regulation for it yet.
You know, if
they need to have like federal and international rules that govern these kinds of things.
They should have just went into South America and learned from the narcos how to build a fucking sub. Because if they can get those motherfuckers 90 miles from Cuba to fucking Florida, you know, you ever seen those videos of the fucking Coast Guard landing on those narco subs?
I think I've seen clips. I've never watched like a full video.
Oh, dude! So they'll literally they have the Coast Guard in their choppers in their helicopters will land, and they'll hover above, but they keep going at the same speed, and they land right on top of these fucking subs. Because if I remember right, they can go below, but they don't go far because
water pressure is a fucking bitch.
Right. But most narco subs stay above water, but it's not that far, not high. But so it's just enough to where they can be seen, depending on the type of water they're in.
Yeah,
and I'm not talking like salt water or fresh water. I'm talking rough waters. If they have if there's waves, if it's a little bit choppy out, probably not too bad for a fucking narco sub. But anyway, these Coast Guard guys will fucking go, you know, match the speed, and they'll fucking not zip line, but fucking rappel down to them.
Yep.
And then they get on top and they just start banging on the motherfucker.
That's why, you know, people like to give the Coast Guard a lot of shit. Like, oh, that's what a lame, you know, military branch or whatever. You know what? Depending on what you're doing, that is, and you're out there, even if you're not, you know, busting a narco sub, you're out there in some of the shittiest chop and like.
Whoa! Have you've seen The Perfect Storm?
I haven't seen it, but I got
it on DVD. I will borrow it to you. It was.
That's Ben Affleck, right?
No.
Was it not?
No, it was Mark Wahlberg and George Clooney.
Okay, yeah.
And it was fucking terrifying what that ship went through. And then they had now obviously I'm pretty sure that the fucking storm wasn't as bad as it showed in a movie.
Yeah.
But we will never know. I mean, there's really probably no perfect way to show what they went through. But if they go with what kind of happened, they had the Coast Guard and a chopper flew out to in this horrible fucking hurricane and storm type thing, and they had to go. They went. There was somebody on this yacht. They were going somewhere, blah blah blah, and this yacht fucking ended up getting overturned, and 2 out of the 3 people were saved, but it was these fucking Coast Guard. They jump right in the water, and we're talking fucking like 10-foot swells.
Yep.
And they're swimming out to the shit, and we're talking probably 60, 70 mile per hour winds. Mm-hmm. And they go out there, and then they get to the people, and then they lower a basket, and then they put the people in the basket, and it's like a fucking crane machine.
Yeah.
You know, and oh my God.
And people underestimate just how hard it is to spot a derelict boat from a helicopter on an ocean where there is no reference point.
It's pitch black.
Yeah, especially at night.
The only thing that you could actually see if there's lightning is the white caps off the waves. Mm-hmm. Dude.
Yeah, no, I couldn't. Oof.
No, just to go back to kind of what you're talking about the military. Now, the military, the reason why they give them, the Coast Guard shit is because they don't go into active battle zones, from what I understand.
And I think even just general civilians think, oh, that's a joke of a... Yeah. Like, no.
I'll tell you what. Now, you grab a fucking Navy SEAL and you tell them to go out in the middle of the fucking ocean during a fucking hurricane, dive into the motherfucking water with these little water wing type of things, go out there and try to save somebody. And then once you got a hold of that person, get them in a basket.
Oh, God, yeah.
And then turn around and have to go do it over and over and over again. Until that person, and until you got enough to where you're like, at what point, what if there's fucking, say, 15 people in the water?
Yeah.
But you only have one fucking helicopter to go get, say, 6 of them. Then what? Ugh.
No.
Dude, I have a problem with the ocean.
Yeah. And just
even the fucking Great Lakes. Fuck that.
I know. Yep. Even Lake Superior. When I was younger, we went fishing on Lake Superior one time. Mm-hmm. Those waves were fucking scary. We're talking like 5-foot waves in this boat. Like, my God.
Yep.
And we're getting to the point where it's like, I can't see shore anymore. Like, no, we need to go closer to shore.
Yeah.
Okay, this is too far. Like, it scares the shit out of me. And that's even knowing there's no sharks in there. There could be,
not yet.
Yeah,
bull sharks are working their way up. The problem is it's too cold. It'll get too cold.
Yeah, yeah, that is the thing about Superior. Even in the summer, that water is cold as shit because it's just so big.
Right. Bull sharks. They said the furthest they made it is like fucking. I can't even think.
And they're more likely to come up rivers rather than through. Because that's a straighter.
But that's what I'm saying is that you can get a bull shark will go upriver.
Yeah.
But it's only made it as the furthest one they said it wasn't Illinois because Illinois is too far north yet. But it
probably would have been like up in Missouri or something, like up the Mississippi.
Yeah. And because bull sharks can go from
because they can.
It's an evolution thing, dude.
Yeah, they can regulate how much salt is in their body. If they don't have enough, they can create it. Where other sharks, they can't. They need it from the salt water.
Again, it's an evolution thing. Now I seen this video a long time ago. Of these people in Maine, and it was a random fucking river or lake. It was a small lake in Maine, which had a small I don't know what do you want to call it. It had an inlet from the ocean, and it was probably a couple 100 miles into this fucking lake, but it was still a saltwater lake, and this thing had a fucking huge great white.
Oh my God!
And there was people that had a couple of fucking little lake homes on this fucking lake, and like there was videos of these people who had live video of from their fucking dock on this lake, and then they were in this boat, and they're showing. You know, most people are like, "Oh, it's not a fucking shark. It's probably just a big fucking like a pike or something."
Mm-hmm.
No, they went and they were like, "Fuck no, that's fucking Jaws right there." I mean, because Jaws was filmed in Maine. Well, it was
Yeah.
based in Maine.
Yeah, and it was actually based on there was a series of shark attacks that happened up along that coast, and then it ended up going up into a river system.
Yeah.
And at this point, they actually do think it was a bull shark, not a great,
Great
white.
white, yep.
But you know, great whites are looked at as the man eaters, even though they're
Even
not
though
really.
bull sharks and makos are meaner than
Bull sharks are the worst.
Yeah.
Shark. Yeah.
makos are faster. Well, makos are almost as fast as what are they called, whip sharks or whatever. The ones
Yeah,
with the
makos are
long-
one of the fastest.
and they are man eaters too, but they're more like not like a bull shark. A bull shark, if they clamp onto your leg, they're gonna eat your leg.
yeah, bull sharks are responsible for way more shark attacks than any other species.
A great white, if they clamp onto your leg and they're like, this ain't the right leg, they'll let you go and go
Yep.
somewhere else.
Yeah, and then you just die because they took your leg off.
Yeah. A bull shark is gonna be like, I'm gonna eat. Well,
Yeah,
call
it's
the
like-
family at dinner time, and everybody else is gonna show up and eat.
Yep. They're the most aggressive sharks. And what's so scary about them is you can be in the ocean in like 4 feet of water. You don't even know there's a bull shark there.
Yep.
And all of a sudden he's fucking tearing your calf off.
Yeah, I didn't need that calf anyway.
Ah.
I got another one. I'm good.
God,
No,
I hate
the-
sharks.
the-
No, I don't hate them. I'm terrified of them.
The ocean is just a very, very. It's just terrifying.
Yeah, there's so
To
much.
me-
There's so much that we don't know about it. There could be other insanely.
The Kraken.
Yeah, maybe it just lives so deep down that it can't come up far enough. But we have explored the deepest parts that we know of,
That we could.
but there's still so much of the ocean that we haven't gotten to yet. And
See, that's a big problem. Is when you say that, the problem is even though that you can bring light down there, it's so dense that doesn't matter how much light you bring down here, you're not going to see.
you can see 10 feet in front of you at the most.
Yep. And you could have had fucking 17 megalodons, and fucking Patrick and SpongeBob could have walked right by you. You wouldn't even have known
Yeah.
it.
And I think there's something that a lot of people don't appreciate, and this only really hit me within the last few years or so, is that at least from a scientific and engineering perspective, it is a lot easier to explore space than it is the deep parts of the ocean.
Yes.
Because to explore space, you only need a craft that can hold in 1 atmosphere of pressure.
Yep.
Because at sea level, it's 1 atmosphere, and we don't get crushed. To explore the ocean, like where that ocean gate
Titanic.
imploded.
Down by the.
Yeah, that's thousands of atmospheres
Uh-huh.
of pressure.
Yep.
That is such a feat of engineering that we've even gotten machines that can go down that far
I
and
read.
can record it. Like, it's incredible.
Right. I read on Yahoo News again.
Okay.
I know. So take it with a grain of salt. That
Hitler's alive and well in Venezuela.
no,
There are apparently rumors about.
Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, it's somewhere in South America.
Yeah. No, but apparently scientists and NASA have located a body of water in outer space that is literally quadrillions of gallons of water and it's floating out there.
Yep. They've located an entire kind of nebula or whatever that is alcohol. It's just alcohol, like ethanol, floating in space, and
Here's another thing I heard, and I don't know if it's true, and maybe you've heard it, but obviously we don't know it's true because we'll, in our lifetime, in our 2 millionth fucking, when we're ancestors of ancestors
Yeah.
of ancestors, we'll never know the truth to this part. But I heard that gold is the rarest mineral in the world or in the universe.
I don't
because they say that that's why that. So the theory behind the Anunnaki, you know, they came to Earth because of our gold deposits, and that they needed it for some reason on their planet, blah blah blah, whatever, and that apparently gold is a very very rare mineral, the rare. Not, I won't say they. I won't say the. How about that? I'll say a extremely rare mineral in the universe.
So the reason that I don't think it's true, and that it's probably just, you know, one of these kind of ancient alien type things.
A YouTube reporter?
Yeah.
The reason, or not YouTube, Yahoo.
Yeah, a Yahoo News story.
Exclusive.
No, the reason that I think that is just because if you look at the periodic table of elements, like 1, 2, all the way up to whatever.
Right.
In general, it follows that hydrogen is the most abundant, then helium, then carbon, then whatever. And it basically is that way the entire way through the periodic table.
Right.
And it's just a consequence of what it takes to create each element. It takes more and more energy to create the next element.
Right.
And so I think gold is just whatever, if it's element 64 or whatever, then it's just the 64th most common element.
Yeah, but see, I think my whole thought on, you know, creation and all this whole thing is that we are limited to what we can think of. Mm-hmm. So for all we know, it could be, or gold could be extremely rare fucking in the universe, and you know.
It could be something where, like, yeah, it's incredibly, like, maybe the universe is actually maybe it actually has like 4 physical dimensions, and we're just too small to see those dimensions. And so in the 4th, maybe gold is the really rare one, but it is perceived in the 3rd as, you know, the 64th most or whatever. I don't know.
Sheldon Cooper says that there's 27 million because he made the math work.
27 million dimensions?
Or 27.
Oh, 27 dimensions?
Yeah. He made the math work. And Sheldon Cooper, I mean, he's like, you know, his intellect can't be measured with standard fucking.
He's not even a character in a show. He's actually a real person.
Real person.
He's so smart that he created a show.
They have a Little Sheldon TV show. So,
and the dad is one of my favorite characters from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
You know what's kind of funny is that the dad ends up being in Little Sheldon was actually in The Big Bang Theory as one of Leonard's bullies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm like, how the fuck do you guys do that shit? Because Sheldon's dad died when he was 12, I believe. in the
so like the dad in Little Sheldon, is that like a stepdad or
no? So okay, so Sheldon's real dad in the Little Sheldon died when he was 12, but in The Big Bang Theory, the TV show, the same guy who played Sheldon's dad in Little Sheldon was Leonard's bully in The Big Bang Theory.
But it's not canonically the same person. It's just the same actor.
Right. Okay. And but I think they tried to make it canonically because
like to try and put some
a twist on the dimensions, I think. So it was actually kind of neat how they did it. So
if there is more than 3 physical dimensions, it's probably 10. Only because, and I only say that because I'm not an expert, but that's what.
If you were, you should not be working at fucking where you work. Right? You should be.
I should be at like MIT
or oh wait, those are engineers. You should probably
there
work
is
at
a lot
NASA.
of there is a lot of like high level physics because it all goes hand in hand.
Right.
But like the current, so there's something called M theory, which is a subset of string theory, and the guy that came up with it, he might be the smartest person that's ever existed so far. His name's Ed Witten, just a mathematical genius. He comes up with theories just like in his spare time, like, oh, I wasn't even thinking about this.
Yeah.
And so he came up with something called M theory, which has 10 physical dimensions and then time. So right now there's 3 dimensions and then time is the 4th dimension. In this string theory thing, it's 10 dimensions with time being the 11th. And for some reason, at least with the math that they know right now, as soon as you add the 10th dimension, it just works perfectly. Like all of the math, all of the predictions just work. But there's no like good way, well actually no real way to do an experiment to test it right now. Like we don't understand honestly the engineering enough to run these kinds of tests. But it's just incredible how this guy, he's just a mathematician by trade, and then in his spare time he's like, here's something that might be a thing, and he comes up with the theory and it just works.
See, and that's where here's my thing. And just like a ton of other people, overthinking. Mm-hmm. So if you take, I've watched videos about mathematicians and this and that and whatever else, and obviously movies and, A Beautiful Mind and stuff like that. You see these random, to me, it's a random fucking symbol, which is something that is meant to be a mathematical symbol, and it's assigned to some sort of value. Okay, how is that? I mean, why can't I take like this? Why can't I take like this the top of this beer can, right, and draw it out on a piece of paper and add a value to it? Why can't I do that? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's, as far as we know, so they say that math is the universal language of the universe, which I agree with 120%. I agree with that. And any person that doesn't agree with that is a fucking idiot. So I honestly believe that we are only scratching the fucking absolute tip of mathematics.
Yeah.
So when you see, there's an actual equation out there that is impossible. They say it's impossible to solve. Well, then, if that's true, then why? How do you know that it's? How does anybody know that it's an actual equation? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that we need to just accept the fact that it might be possible that as we exist, we are not capable of understanding all of the laws of the universe. Like if we're 3D beings, and maybe there's just something about if there's a 4th physical dimension that as 3D beings, it's literally physically impossible for us to contemplate or to
comprehend it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there is, although then, I don't know, but from a math perspective, you should
see that's
where it doesn't take actually visualizing it, or I don't know.
See, that's what that video that a couple episodes ago Jesse brought up.
Yep.
The kid makes sense. And and the only reason why I'll never fucking say, I'll never be the guy to turn around and say that kid's a fucking liar. But I did see, because the reason is because I have no fucking idea. I can do my taxes. I can add, I can multiply. I can do shit like that. I'll never understand certain things. Well, most things when it comes to mathematics, because see, when I see A plus B equals C, I understand what that means. Mm-hmm. But when I remember going to math or going to algebra in high school, and they were like, okay, when they would put, okay, A plus B equals C, what is C? And I'd put 3 or 2 or 1. I was wrong. And I'm like, well, you show me where you assign the values of A and B. Then I'll tell you what C is. Nope. Yeah. I'm like, okay. One thing that always, square roots always, I could never
It's
not just square roots. And then you had the, what is it, the three, say you had a three.
a cube root.
Yeah, with the fucking three and the little three above it. Yeah, or in the corner of it. That shit I could never get.
Yeah, it's God. So a lot of that is just it's a consequence of our numbering system. Like square roots, how they're like, unless it comes out even, it's a weird like just infinite decimal, just keeps going on and on. But there's probably a numbering system where that square root comes out even. And, maybe square root of 4 to them comes out as something random. It's, I don't know.
You gotta admit that the shit gets, it's fucking complicated as hell. And there's some people that can understand it, but then when you sit there and you hear the explanation, you're like, okay. I have no fucking idea where you're going with it, but I get that there's probably fucking say 500 people in this fucking world that can understand your train of thought, but now you want to try an experiment for that math equation. How are you gonna, what are you gonna do with that?
And that's the hard part, is there's a lot of things that we think we know because we know how to do the math and it works out, but we don't have any idea how to actually test it.
Right.
How to actually come up with an experiment to test it. And so that's kind of the state of physics right now is we're pretty sure we're on the right track. Well, I shouldn't say we.
Right. They are.
Being awfully lofty. Like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
We totally get it. They think they're on the right track, but our technology just is lagging behind. And also because the theories are getting so advanced that it's just, without some kind of ridiculous energy source, we don't know how to test it.
I seen this video. So you remember, I know me and you've talked about this in the past episodes of Terrence Howard, about how
he's a kook.
he's how he's like, just because you say 1 + 1 is 2, how do you know that it isn't 11? Shit like that. And I seen this video where this mathematician came on Joe Rogan with Terrence Howard.
Eric Weinstein,
and he was like, "You're fucking insane.
Yeah,
you are crazy." He never called him stupid, but he says you need some help. And Terrence Howard, there's videos out there of him just being, just talking normal like we are right now. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to get him on this fucking whole math fucking kick, because then his mind kicks into something else, I
think he's like a bipolar manic person who thinks, because when you're manic, you genuinely think like, oh my God, I understand. Like, I get it.
Right. But
I think that's where he's coming from.
But here's my kind of my thought on it is, so when he goes off like this and talks about how, why isn't, 1 + 1 could be 11 because it's 2 1s or whatever, his reasoning behind it. Now I get it. It could be something in his head, but there could be, let's say we have fucking aliens from fucking quadrant 3 of fucking Draconis 17 come in and say, you think 1 + 1 is 2? You're a fucking idiot. So, I get it. People can be very, especially, apparently fucking celebrities can be extremely fucking out there.
Yeah.
Because look what happened to fucking Jim Carrey after he did Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
And he did that movie, what was it, 23? Everything was 2 and 3. Everything was 2 and 3. Everything was 2 and 3. Everything yields 23. And 5 + 5 is 10. But if you add fucking 33, it's 43. But then there's a 20 right there, and you minus that's 23.
Yeah.
And so I could see a very small sliver of what he thinks could.
The thing with Terrence Howard is he likes to use a lot of fancy language, and like he talks about wave conjugations and all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
But it's all just word salad. What he needs to do, if he thinks
Did
that
you just say fucking word salad?
word salad,
I've
yeah.
never heard that.
It's
That
just
is
a
so
bunch of
funny.
words. It's a bunch of words tossed together. What he needs to do, if he wants someone to take him seriously and he thinks he's got the proper wave conjugations, which is not actually a thing in science that doesn't mean anything, he needs to say, here's what my math says, and here's how that is useful to us. Because everything that we know about math, fucking computers would not work if one, like,
Computers are programmed, dude.
yes, but it's programmed based on our current understanding
Binary.
of, yeah,
Binary.
and that all is
Ones and zeros.
what we know about
Yeah.
math.
Yeah.
And like, if 1 times 1 was 2, like he says,
No, 1 + 1 is 11 or something.
he might.
like-
It's
Yeah.
I know for sure he says 1 times 1 is 2.
Oh, 1 times 1 is 2?
Yeah.
Oh, what the?
But he might also say 1 + 1 is 11. Like,
Yeah.
but it means nothing until he can make a prediction and prove that the come up with an experiment that shows that it's true. It goes back to the current problem with our string theories is based on what we know about math. It seems like it's right. But we don't know because we don't have the experiments to prove it.
And see, that's where I really dig the whole fucking thing about physics. Because I really enjoy, the questions, and, obviously I wouldn't understand the half of it, but just the questions in general. To me, it's kind of like, how I really dig talking about religion. Mm-hmm. Physics kind of the same way. And it's because, and I liked how you put it when you said, from what we understand about mathematics, because when you say it, that's a statement stating that as a race of intelligent beings, we could be wrong. The chances are, obviously 1 + 1 is fucking 2. Mm-hmm. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 divided by fucking 2, is 1. Shit like that. I get it. And I really dug what you said there. But what I like is that there's a possibility that we could be totally wrong on all of it. Yeah,
it's entirely possible that we're close to reaching the limits of our understanding as beings. And there might be a broader set of mathematics that we can't possibly imagine that just, for whatever reason, it kind of, certain things cancel out, and to our brains, it looks like this,
quantum mathematics.
And that's the big thing is how do they merge the quantum stuff with the large scale, the macro stuff.
Right. Did you ever watch the original, not the original anime or cartoon of Transformers, but the Michael Bay Transformers?
No, I've only seen, I think, Transformers 2.
So you never seen the first one?
No.
Okay, I have it on DVD. You have to watch it because there's this they're talking about how this whatever it was, this signal had hacked the Pentagon and the defense's computers within seconds, which they say that even the strongest supercomputer on the planet couldn't do it in like 250 years, right? And this chick said, go away from this and that and start thinking about, what did she say? Like bioquantum mechanics. So she's talking about basically like a biomechanical fucking computer. Mm-hmm. And so what do you think about something like that? I mean, you got to admit, so basically they're talking about a cyborg computer that is,
I think, honestly, the way so AI is that's like the next frontier in computing.
Yeah, well,
and everyone is investing heavily into AI.
I'm going to be really pissed off. I go to a fucking pop machine and that motherfucker kills me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be pissed.
No, I honestly think, and I don't have a good reason for saying this, but just based on what we've seen, I don't think that an actual artificial intelligence, like a conscious artificial intelligence, can exist without some kind of biochemical interface. I think there's something to like the proteins and enzymes or whatever that causes our brains to function. I think that's probably a necessary thing for consciousness.
Well, just remember earlier today when Justin was here, he was going to record with us, folks, and he went to a wedding last night of his brother's wedding, and he wasn't feeling well, and or he got drunk as shit last night.
Yeah,
showed up and he just couldn't do it today, and I told him that he said that he was feeling anxious, but then he was also feeling kind of sick to his stomach. Well,
probably a lot from the anxiousness,
right?
Too.
And I said, when you feel anxious, is it like your stomach, like everything in your stomach is just kind of like shaking? He goes, no, it's in my head. And I said, the chances are then you have a chemical chemical imbalance.
Yep.
Now that if you sit there and you think about it the way you just talked about, where enzymes and everything that makes us think the way we do, and we add it to a fucking AI, what's going to stop that AI from being fucking bipolar?
Yeah.
You know, you've seen iRobot with Will Smith, and that's based off a movie. That's based on a book. I think it was a Russian.
Isaac Asimov.
Yeah, a Russian or was it? Yeah,
I don't know if he was Russian, but it definitely sounds Russian.
Right.
But he was like, he's kind of the definitive, like, he's the first real, like, sci-fi artificial intelligence.
Yeah,
writer.
he started the 3 laws.
Yep.
Which he was like the first one to talk about AI. He's the first one about, if we're going to make something that is just as smart as us, we need to make sure that it can't make the same mistakes as a human can.
And if we were to make an artificial intelligence that was truly like a sentient being, it doesn't matter how, at least in the way that I'm thinking about it, it doesn't matter what kind of safeguards we build in. If it's truly sentient,
it'll find a way around it.
Yes, it will. As soon as it desires to be free of those kind of shackles, it will find a way.
Yeah, Terminator. I mean, yeah, no, 100%, and that's why, I mean, you got these fucking crazy fucking rednecks who are like, we gotta watch what we do, and fuck the, this and fuck that, because we should, everybody started freaking out about smart speakers. How long we been using our my fucking
oh yeah, the Google Home.
Yeah, how long have we been using that?
Some years.
Yeah, and the thing is dumb as shit, because at times it'll fucking go off on its own, and people are like, oh, it's a government thing. You know what? Yes, it probably does have a lot of microphones going straight to the fucking government.
Yep, certain keywords I'm sure are like.
Yep, but guess what? So does your phone. So does your laptop. So does your fucking smoke detector. Lucas, how often when we use that smart speaker does it fuck up? Hey, play Motley Crue's "Kickstart My Heart." Playing fucking The Cure's "Go Fuck Yourself" in Spanish. with fucking with sign language subtitles.
Yeah, playing a YouTube music mix of 2021's top 2020 songs of 2019 written in 2018, like
from Beyonce.
Yeah, just the weirdest fucking thing. It's like, what the fuck are you?
But granted, it's like the public's first interaction with AI. Granted, we're probably 20 years behind what the governments are. Yeah. Every government. I'm not talking about just ours, but every government in the world, we're probably 20 years behind it. So, anyway, there, Lucas, we are sitting at about that time again tonight. We did 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And they were good episodes.
This one was better, I think.
Yeah.
I think this one was really good.
Well, because we're drunker.
Yeah.
We drank a little bit more
Yeah.
this time. Do you have anything you would like our listeners to know?
No, just keep supporting smooth jazz.
The smooth jazz. And if you see Justin in Utah with his other husbands, wives,
Sister, wives, or brother, husbands.
yeah, make sure you tell him that don't shuck the corn that fast.